dances is a good indication of his prowess at lovemaking. And Ronald dances the same way he makes love. Alone. Even though he had recently been bitten by a radioactive spider, Tommy was hesitant to test his Spidey skills until they triple dog dared him. Then it was so on. He probably should have waited till those Spidey senses got all tingly. They dared little James to crank it up to 40 miles per hour, which turned out to be about 38 miles per hour too fast. All hail the king of porta potties. When you dare yourself to greatness, you gotta be prepared to answer to the people. Abdicating the porta potty throne is both humiliating and painful. Darla dared to be one of the boys. One of the klutzy boys with a broken back. 2 out of 3 trampoline bouncers don't regret taking the dare to all jump at the same time. The third guy didn't want to comment. When choosing a wedding dress, brides tend to concentrate on the design of the bodice and the length of the train, when they really should take into consideration what happens when it gets wet. Zach spent hours on his hors d'oeuvres to impress his lady friend. It is just too bad he was dipping into the cooking sherry the entire time. The best man just realized the bride was that girl from spring break 2 years ago. If she recognizes him, it's all over. Sometimes the wedding party upstages the bride and groom. Jake and Hildy wanted to make an entrance people would still be talking about years later, and they did. People are still saying, remember those 2 klutzy morons in that wedding we went to that time? Her dress was so tight, people worried she might not be able to breathe. But it turned out, it was the groom with the tight cummerbund that ended up hyperventilating. She'd help, but in that dress, she really can't bend over. Not only is Andre a great driver, but I bet it would surprise you to know he also put that car together all by himself. Well, maybe it wouldn't surprise you at all. He can't read directions yet. I don't know who made birds a symbol of wedding bliss, but it sure as hell wasn't a bird. Bird doesn't give a about their wedding. Or does he? Yep, he gives a all right. In fact, some people get vindictively jealous. If you know what I mean. Gilbert would never make it as one of those fancy theme restaurant waiters because he liked to have his shift drinks before his shift. Here is exactly what you get when you find your camera crew on Craigslist. He knew never to play leapfrog with a unicorn, but it didn't stop him from daring to leap a cement pole. Same result, though. Don't think that's him. Not sure about that guy either. Oh, there he is, and he's down for the count. There's a reason amateur gymnasts are relegated to the tiny mats. Think of all the damage they do in a much larger space. Okay, good. Now back it up, back it up, back it up, and that's good. Why all the trepidation from this amateur scientist from Polytechnic Middle School? Well, he isn't sure what's going to happen, but he got nervous when the teacher insisted on leaving the room first. Unsupervised science is dangerous science. The life of a bike messenger is tough. There's the pressure, the long hours, and the vendettas held by fellow messengers. be better off just being a mailman. Looks like we just stumbled into an adult film shoot, and that has Santa getting himself firmly placed on the naughty list. These girls hope to be so famous someday that they can afford a larger rehearsal space. Until that day, they'll have to suffer for their art. Mikey's parents made sure he wore protective gear on almost every part of his body. Problem is, they don't make pads for your dignity. Dignity is always vulnerable. Sammy liked seeing where he had been, which prevented him from getting where he was going. Safer to face forward. Monroe bills himself as the #1 motorcycle daredevil in all the Ukraine. The only thing better than watching the dominance of man over machine is when it is totally the other way around. Maybe she should be learning on a set of wheels she can handle, like a tricycle maybe? I'll give her this. She's got perseverance. Unfortunately, she was never seen again. When they made a potty stop in the woods, they should have peed away from the car. Look at the mess they made by being so close. Oh, great. Now they got pee-pee on them. Jeremy wanted to juggle with a partner, but he had difficulty finding one with the same skill set. Because when stealing a bicycle, it's probably best not to do it wearing a Santa suit. You can't blend in. The beard gets in your eyes. You could get a mason to build you a staircase, or you could always just improvise. Maybe he'd be better off renting a ground floor unit.